Thank you. Good evening. Today's date is October 25th, 2023. This is the meeting of the Police Accountability Board for Prince George's County, Maryland. The time is 6:40 p.m. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. I'll go ahead and take the roll. If you are in person, just say present. If you are attending the meeting virtual, just say present virtually. Thank you. Mr. Sanchez, Mrs. Springs,
Present.
Mrs. Ridley,
Present.
Mr. O'Neill,
Present.
Mrs. Bryant,
Present.
Danny Vergamini, Daniel Jones, Mr. James,
Attending virtually.
Melton,
Present.
and Dr. Coleman.
Present virtually.
Thank you. And Kelvin, present. Thank you. Right. Next up, did everyone get an opportunity to review the minutes that were sent out? I don't have those.
I read them, they weren't up there.
Yeah, I got them in the email.
I got them in the email.
Yeah.
Right there.
Me too.
Email.
Yeah. Anybody have any changes that they'd like to make, or can we get a motion to approve the minutes from, let me pull them up. Yeah, I'm gonna pull them up real quick, I apologize.
I think that recall. One was recalled. Ted, you sent out two, right?
Yeah. September 13th and September
27th, right.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes, from September 13th and 27th.
Can we separate them out, if you don't
Wait,
mind?
September 13th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bryant, seconded by Mrs. Springs, to accept the minutes from September 13th. All in favor, say aye.
Nobody had any comments?
Sorry, did anybody have any comments or questions about September 13th minutes? Okay, and again, were there any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, great. Minutes from September 13th are accepted.
I would like to move that we accept the minutes from September 27th.
You,
I second.
motion made by Mrs. Bryant, seconded by Mrs. Springs, to accept the minutes from September 27th. Any questions or comments or concerns with the September 27th minutes? If there is none, let's go ahead. All in favor to accept the minutes from the meeting on September 27th, say aye. Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstaining? All right, cool. Minutes accepted from September 27th. Thank you. Next up on our agenda is old business. And next up on that, under that, will be the letter to the police chief that Daniel sent to us. And I think we have a copy.
You have a copy of the letter as well as my copy.
Yeah, okay. So did the members attending virtually, did they get a copy?
They should have a copy. Does
Okay.
everyone have a copy of these, of the two, documents that, the letter that Daniel drafted?
Those are the ones that-
I can't see what they're saying.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sorry, did Dr. Coleman and Mr. James, you got, okay, thank you.
Going to email now
Yeah,
to get.
okay. Okay,
What did he say? He's going through his email.
yes.
Oh, okay.
So we'll give those people who don't have it an opportunity to kind of review it real quick. And if, during that time, does anybody have any thoughts or questions they want to talk about with this letter? Did you see it, Marva Joe? Did you get a chance? Okay. I'm looking here and I notice it says the board requests written responses to the questions above.
Well, here he is.
And
And
the man of the hour in an
Hello.
in-person meeting. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing
Good,
good.
good.
Sorry.
I just feel it's a small thing to just, and facilitating, 'cause everything else is providing, providing here, and too, so it's and facilitating.
Oh, and
In the first.
facilitate, okay. Yep, we were on the letter now, we got it. Yep. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
we're gonna change it to facilitated.
Yes.
You should end the.
That's a year to go with the providing.
Which one we looking
Oh,
at?
the letter, okay.
The one with the
actual
comments
letter.
on it, or the one with
First, the
the
letter, I think.
letter here, the draft?
I think that's right.
Copy of your own letter, too.
Yeah.
One's the letter, the other one is Martha's comment.
I don't,
I should think you should say.
I don't understand the comments though.
The comments are in the folder. And the comments are on the document that does not, it is not on there.
Agenda.
And I just had a question about the first paragraph, and it says accountability. So wasn't it the law enforcement agency, as opposed to the officers themselves? The agency would
Where are you saying, Marjo?
assume everybody. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm sorry. As opposed to just officers. Most places we talk about law enforcement agencies.
Okay, so
would
you wanna say law enforcement agencies, which would include
officers
okay.
or anybody.
Where's that?
the last sentence of the first paragraph?
Accountability of law enforcement officers. Okay.
Agencies, because we want the whole caboodle.
Agency, okay.
And you know that is a very legal term, caboodle, right?
Is it really? Get out of here. Whole kit and caboodle.
So we're gonna
But I think that, the first paragraph, wasn't that,
The last
sentence? coming from the state narrative about that? I mean, that's what it is.
Facilitate.
Mr. O'Neill had a question. Say that again, Mr. O'Neill?
Okay, if you're talking about this piece right here,
No,
that is,
I'm talking about, what's the same?
which one?
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I think that's just a narrative. Did you get that, Danny, from the state narrative? That's where it says the law enforcement officers in their counties, because that would include everybody.
The agency includes everybody.
Yeah, when I initially did more the first paragraph, just referencing the Maryland Police Accountability Act from the state level, I was like kind of trying to imply the intent of the state legislation. I don't think we lose much
Right,
throwing agency
right.
in there, so, I mean, I wouldn't be, opposed to that. But to your question, yeah.
Vice Chair, you cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just had a question about Marsha's comments. Marsha, was your intent that we add that?
Yes,
The
question.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yeah.
In regards to Ms. Ridley's comments, for example, it asked for some things that I think may exceed our authority, and may exceed even public records. So I'm hesitant to ask for some of those things, particularly those exceed the timeline for even the PAB's establishment, or that may be not publicly available. For example, request copies of pending litigation. That is something that I would be concerned about.
Which one? 7?
Correct, 7, as an example. Or number 6, something in the past 24 months. Again, I'm just looking at the period before the PAB's existence.
Please.
You mean that's longer than we have been in existence, you mean? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think, Mr. James, let me say this, in terms of authority, one, they can say no. That's the first part of it, and second, if they don't want to, and everybody's, I think, trying to get to a place of information to help. So I don't know that is a problem in terms of the authority. It's a request, and their legal counsel, I can assure you, will look at this and say, this exceeds or this goes beyond, or we would prefer not to answer.
Yeah, we can make the ask. I think that should be okay. What you think? Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Any comments on questions?
He said number 7 as well.
Number 6 and 7, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Pending
I think you
litigation,
was
maybe.
talking about the pen,
Right,
Oh, okay.
right?
yeah.
How about, so we were curious about the occurrence of multiple offenses. Did we sort of tailor that to say administrative actions that were
Which one are you on, Ms.
number
Brown?
2?
Oh, number
okay.
2.
Yeah, multiple times. So, copy of all documentation, of all adverse administrative actions, and more or less tailored to those who've had one or more. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that we could see.
Oh, so it won't be a whole lot.
Yeah.
You'll have some. Right, I see what you're saying. 'Cause if
Which
you-
question was that?
Number
Number
2.
2, okay. Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry, so how would you word it? Say it again, I'm sorry.
To officer, think about how,
Oh,
you're right, if I make the
Right, but I know what
recommendation.
you're trying to-
No, it's right.
Personnel or conduct of suspension of, against an officer with one, or with 2 or more.
Yep, 2 or more, yeah.
So I do want to ask, because we may run into, going back to the 24 months,
Mm-hmm.
Leopold was in effect
Mm-hmm.
prior to,
Police accountability.
right, prior to, and not that you can't ask, but Leopold, and I would think the unions, if I'm a union,
Right.
I would say no.
Gotcha.
So that would
That's
be
what I was
something.
Yeah, I think that's what they were
Yeah.
referring to.
No, but they could still
say
say
no.
yes, or they
It's
could
not
say no,
likely.
right.
So we,
But I'm just saying, we may run into, an issue of what they're required
To
to.
give us.
but they gotta tell us, like you said before, though.
No, they
Yeah,
can
they
say
tell
no,
us
so
that.
if you wanna
Let me-
ask, all they can say
I would really like to make it
I told
the
you.
last 12 months,
12
just so that it
Oh,
would
okay, that
cover
makes
us.
sense. Yeah, that makes
Time
sense.
when we
Okay.
I think, I
I said that earlier.
also feel like I don't wanna,
That wasn't what we were
No, I
talking about.
don't wanna,
That's
like,
what I was responding.
start saying no to ourselves first. Like, we haven't even given them a chance yet to take a look or to say something or say something not. Like, we're doing a lot of guessing on what they will say yes and or no to. Let's let them say yes or no. Like, I think if we leave room, right, like, I think we'd like to kind of look at some of these additions, you know, maybe some more that we can sit down, like, with the subcommittee and, like, talk about maybe how to tailor some of these questions more specifically. But I also don't wanna get in our own way. Like, I think the broader we leave the question and the less, like, kind of laborious, like you
Let them
mentioned,
say
that we
no.
make it for them,
Right.
then we make it easy to respond to, and in a nice enough way that they wanna respond, let's let them, like, let's not,
And
let's put blocks in
And
front of
that's what I'm
ourselves. Yeah.
saying, they can say no, and their attorney,
Right.
Mr. O'Neill, would say it if they don't wanna do it.
Right.
The other thing is, it may be interesting if they're willing to show pre-PAB, post-pre, if there, you see some changes that might be,
Interesting.
and it might be a way of doing it that's not officer-specific, that can be kind of categories of officers, so it gets you to the same place without violating the legal board.
Okay.
So are we asking to, on Marcia's, Ms. Ridley's comments, are we adding it or keeping the letter just like this? I guess that's what my question is, because at the end of your letter, of Danny's letter, he basically says that, don't you ask him, written response already? You asked that at the end, and just on, and I'm saying in the bold is, Ms. Ridley, are you asking to add that to number 1, add it to number 2? My thing is that he's saying that, but if I'm reading that, you know, they pissing me off. You know, they got this, so after every question, it wouldn't ask the question if I wasn't gonna respond. You know what I mean? The letter like it is basically says that, you know, for each one. You know, because when you say, I'm just saying, the board requests a copy of all policy, but just see what they're gonna give us.
I hear you, Mr. O'Neill, but I think it kind of gives them guidance.
Yeah.
So as a person who's responding to like requests and FOIA, things like that, you want some type of guidance, because there are a lot of documents. So I think you need something to kind of point in the right direction, and then give them something to
This is
give.
police department. All I'm saying is this. If I read this, you send this to me, I'd get pissed off. I'd send you the most limited amount of stuff I could. Because you say, what's the current policy regarding termination? Board requests a copy. How does the department, I get pissed off if you say, but if I just got the questions, you gotta give me, then we see what climate we're dealing with the chief and stuff. But if you say after each question, please provide the documentation, you know what I mean?
No, but maybe we could rephrase the actual question itself and say, please provide the current policy. Instead of saying, what are they? Please provide us with the current policy.
But I think,
You know what I'm saying?
but I'm saying that Danny, at the end of this,
Mhm.
he says, give us a response.
You're right.
I mean, and we have to go for
There's
that.
2 ways you could handle this. If we leave this off, they could just write a response, which
Mhm.
could be a written statement. But I think from our intent and what Marsha's trying to convey is we would also appreciate supporting documents.
Right.
So we could say it differently and say supporting documents,
Yes.
any supporting documents to
Uh-huh.
support
And I
your
agree with you.
statements would be good, like we could say that.
And I agree with you, but I'm saying, couldn't that, what you just said, in Danny's, for instance, board request written response with supportive documents at the end. That's all I'm saying is,
Right.
I wouldn't put the bold after each question. I just,
Well, no, we're not,
attorney.
I don't think that, so,
Okay.
one of the things I think, and I see your hand, Mr. James, one of the things, I trust that the police agencies won't be pissed off. I think that they'll do the right thing, understanding, right? Because we're all trying to work together, so I'm going to expect better from them, and hopefully they will answer. And it's not intended to piss them off. It's intended to request for information, which is under our purview, I think. I'm sorry, Mr. James, go ahead.
So I appreciate it. I think we've gotten to a place that I somewhat agree. I think the questions as they were originally drafted left it broad enough so that we could get a response. I think adding in the request for supporting documentation regarding those responses is a good idea. But I don't think adding some of the specificity and giving the agency an opportunity to not respond based on some legal reason or some legal parameter is just going to put us in a back and forth letter writing campaign. So I think we leave it open. We're not on a witch hunt. We're not looking for something specific. Some of these make it almost appear like you're looking for something specific. So I would leave it broad, have a discussion, because the original intent was a policy discussion. And if we leave it broad and open-ended and ask for supporting documentation regarding those policies, I think that gets us to the place that we were intending to go.
Thank you. So let's do this. We're not going to continue to just do this. Let's go ahead and take a vote. So the
Do you
first.
wanna send it back to the sub or vote to approve one or the
Yeah,
other here?
well,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I think it would be good to send it back to the subcommittee so that they can discuss the actual verbiage.
Okay.
Just smooth it out so
Okay.
that it'll be blended and not question and now.
Because I do like the
No, she
things at the end. Yeah,
valid,
I think this is great.
question. But like I said, some of it can be smoothed
Tailored a
out
different
and
way.
tailored so
Absolutely.
that you just get what you
Right,
need and
absolutely.
not.
So, yeah, I'm okay with that. So
I make a motion, I move that we send it back to the subcommittee.
Seconded.
motion made to send it back to,
And that if anyone else has comments or suggestions, that they pass it to them.
okay.
Learn that, the next meeting is in November, and then there's a holiday, so you can plan to meet with them this next year.
Right.
Is
Okay,
that
You can
critical?
just edit the letter, depending,
Yeah.
Did we say we wanted it at a certain time?
yeah, at the end.
Oh.
Yeah,
Trying to
so,
specify that there's a possibility to join an in-person meeting during the month.
Oh, month
yeah,
of
so that's why I was
November.
gonna say, it might be a little,
Yeah.
might be tight right now. But again, you guys, we can provide that input and send it back. I think
Yeah.
that'd be great. I honestly think that this is good, and I love the
Because you're
question.
gonna get, look at something like number 4. And I'm gonna tell you what I would answer if I were they. I'd say yes.
Yeah.
I would say yes.
Yeah.
And to me, asking for some documentation not forces, I don't mean that, but gives, so I think, some guidance, as Ms. Springs said, of what might help us be able to know the answers. That the open-ended questions are so open-ended that you might not get an answer.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
And I thought what Ms. Ridley
Yeah,
gave
it was good, yeah.
was,
I feel like
Very thoughtful.
my initial approach was
Yeah.
to leave it open-ended, like, just to get to begin a conversation.
Gotcha.
And then, we get them in the room, we actually sit down, we get the specifics of it, because I didn't want to get, scary is not the word I'm thinking, but, like, I didn't want to send, like, a scary letter, where
Right.
then, like you said, where then they're like, I'm not gonna respond to that, like, that's.
Yeah,
But it may be that
really,
the chair or someone else can have that conversation. Maybe the chair and say, we're doing this, and give some flavor to it, so that they know what you're trying to intend.
Yeah.
Right?
but I think the letter is also would give us indication when we have our next meeting to meet with them about trends and stuff. That, this letter here will give us an idea how that's just Prince George, it's not the
Yeah, this is.
other 24, you know what I mean, whatever, 24, 25, and this, but it'll give us an indication. And see, I was just looking at, I don't know if anybody caught it when we was at the work group, but the work group thing, and I don't know who the guy was, and he said, he basically said, well, Police Accountability Board only have responsibility for that.
Right.
I mean, it's like, don't ask too much, that's what I got from him. I don't
Right.
remember the guy, but he's one of, what's the working group or
Yeah,
whatever?
the work group, yep, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, what we get from this, get an indication how the chief is gonna deal with us on, and when we start talking about, what's the trends you're doing for other things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I honestly think, to be quite honest, how I feel, I think it's gonna be good, and I think this will be something that other, jurisdictions can adopt throughout the state of Maryland, I really do. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. So let's do what you suggested, let's send it back. Any comments or anything like that, we'll just respond. But I do like the questions, like you said, Mr. Melton and Mrs. Springs, to give them some guidance of what it is that we're looking for. And we can draft it in a way that is not offensive, because we're not trying to be offensive, but we're saying, hey, look, it's part of our job, we're trying to do this moving forward. And it's just, like you said, all the agencies. So, yeah, that'll be something. And then that'll help us with some of our, data collection as well, too.
Yeah, did the subcommittee do this before you went to I know you went to the Montgomery County Police meeting, didn't you go to that?
Oh, I don't remember.
Was that before this, this was done before this?
I don't remember. Honestly, don't remember. It was about the same time period, though.
Okay.
About the
Yeah.
same time period, yeah.
I think it's good. So let's do that. So let's not,
Okay.
we got some other stuff to go. I really think that it's great. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, who made the motion, Ms.
Vote for do what now?
I made the motion.
I seconded.
So we're making a motion to send it back to the...
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So motion was made by, thank you again, Tangi. Motion was made by Mrs. Bryant, seconded by Daniel Jones to send the letter, that we will be sending over to the Prince George's County Police Department, to send it back to the subcommittee for some edits, and then come back and see if we like it. So, motion was made. All in favor to send it back to the subcommittee for edits, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Oh,
Yeah, oh,
I think we had two eyes on there. I think they said aye.
oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, thumbs up, okay. Okay, we'll take that, okay, thank you. All right, cool, so we'll send that back. Thank you again, Dan.
Sure.
Great discussion. Update on AHB selection process. That was Dr. Coleman. Did you have an update with that, Dr. Coleman?
Yes, and the update is that I totally misread your directive. So my apologies for that. We met to talk about and I actually wrote it down in my notes that we're going to revise the questions and not look at the process. So I've sent an email out to the committee And it was correctly reflected in the minutes. So thanks to the staff for that. That was on me. So we're going to meet, and then we'll have an update by the next meeting. So my apologies for not paying attention to you, Chairman Duvall.
Look, Dr. Coleman, I like to say, Dr. Coleman, do it now, I'm just saying. No, thank you, I understand, everybody, look, life happens, so it's not a big deal. So, but thank you, we'll take care of that, thank you. Next up, under that is the adoption of strategic plan.
So if you would take out, we've had so many iterations, and I will tell you, myself and staff have been working really hard to capture everything that was in it. Last couple of weeks, we went through it, I went through it again a couple of weeks ago. So there are a couple of things that we wanted to put on the table today, and others that, the chairman, I think is gonna, let's go through the things, and then we can tell the rest of it. So if we could go page to page. So in the vision, it was not clear which vision you all selected. I believe it was the second one, but wanted to confirm, because there were 3 visions listed on here. Did we pick another one?
This one captures.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I probably was a little biased, but.
Only thing, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it says by promoting public accountability. I think that can be, is that,
So just taking out public,
or say police?
police.
Okay.
So let me ask you about that though, Mr. Melton. I know we talk about law enforcement agencies, but we also have other non-law enforcement that are kind of required, could be required for transparency, whether that's county legislation, state legislation. So,
Yeah.
so the question is, do you want to limit that, please, or just maybe take it all the way
I
out?
think in reading the entire passage, it talks about the agencies, then it says promoting police accountability,
Yeah.
and then it says, you know, in general, transparency and building trust. So I think it's all encompassing in
So
a way.
you're okay with the
So
police?
I'm okay. I mean, if other people feel differently,
You okay with
It
it?
might take a little minute, yeah.
I would just say, take out the public, just promoting accountability and transparency. Just
That
take
was my question,
Yeah.
whether or not,
I
but if
would,
you want to,
yeah, that's fine.
that's okay, that was my question, to just take out and just go straight to accountability.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I might lean more towards Mr. Milton's initial, just change to police, yeah, because I think, kind of like you said, it's all encompassing. I think it all falls under the umbrella. And that's also our name anyways, Police Accountability Board. I feel like police, in the vision, the word makes
Right.
sense considering the title of the board.
you okay with that?
That's just, we can
So
vote
we
on
want
it.
the police, okay.
Yep.
You guys like police?
Yeah, because we ain't got nothing to do with the community. I mean, we ain't supposed to be holding them accountable. We can't hold them accountable. They can't come before us. I mean,
Hold on, it's
I'm
just
just
a
saying.
word, right, it's
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
word,
yeah.
let's not go into the weeds again. Right, we agree with the police, so yes.
You know, like,
Can you read them original for me so I can make sure I get the edit this time?
So it'll say by promoting police accountability and transparency and building trust in the administration of justice. So the word public will be police.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, and we're fine with taking out those other 2, I think you.
yes,
Okay, all right. We can go to the second page. I'm not going over anything that don't have a gray on it.
bless
You wanna get out of here before
Because people will kick me under this page.
yes, indeed.
And I don't know who wrote, but compile and keep records of impediments to achieving effective collaboration, and collaboration among who or what. I just want to make sure it was clear what that meant. Whoever did it.
Effective collaboration between the agencies and.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It is
that's how I interpret it, and,
Between the board and the agencies of law enforcement entities, or is that?
I wasn't.
Achieving.
I mean, if we were to request certain, platforms or, avenues to connect and collaborate with law enforcement, that we were to get no or no show up, we could at least keep a list.
A record of that.
Yeah, or if you do have conversations and they tell you,
No.
man, that time is too early for us, or whatever, we can keep a record of the things that, I mean, obviously, we could just fix it, but
Right.
I interpret this as just saying, keep
Okay.
track of.
So it's between PAB and law enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna add it so it's no.
Okay.
It's like something like if Greenbelt consistently don't send us nothing, you know, something, we know
Right.
that, or Morningside or somebody like that, you know what I mean? I think that's what you're saying.
Just wanna make sure.
Angie goes out and asks for something and they keep.
Okay.
Okay. The next one.
Did you get that, Mrs. Springs? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next one is on goal 2, objective 1. And it doesn't necessarily, I put required just 'cause I wanna make sure we were all on the same page. Implement process for timely transmission and tracking of complaints from PAB to law enforcement agencies, which we are required to do. But then it had, and recommend process for ACC, was not clear of what that was or what that meant. Or if it was to stay in here.
Isn't the first half, doesn't staff do that?
What's
Like,
that?
we don't technically send the complaints along ourselves, like, when you guys get them, you send the complaints along, right?
Yeah.
Required to within 3 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this talks about board and staff, so,
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. but I did not know what the second
Yeah.
sentence meant.
Okay.
Do you all need to keep it, or?
Is that the complaints that come straight to us, that's what you mean?
Mm-mm.
You know, off the web or whatever? Okay, all right.
So, are you okay if I strike that?
Take out and recommend.
And recommend a
Yeah,
process?
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
should be going to them.
Right, yeah.
Right, I mean, the first one is legislatively mandated. The next one is, measures, so you'll see throughout here, some time ago, we had requested where we had objectives for you all to send back, milestones or measures. So we'll need that, but we'll talk about that at the end, because we're missing it. Same way with 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We need both the milestones. I put objectives, I'm sorry, it should have been in measure. Apologize.
For which one?
For all of them. 2,
Oh,
3, mhm.
Oh, okay.
You see, on each one, we're supposed to have objectives, milestone, and measure. We're missing it for that.
1, 3, 4, 5. So it should be,
So we're
okay.
missing the milestone, right?
And the measures. And the measures.
You got measures here.
But in there. Mm-hmm.
Right. 2, 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
It should be measures, right?
yes, I apologize.
Nope, no worries.
Yeah, the measures.
And under milestones, objective 3, where it says conduct review of monthly ACC reports of police disciplinary outcome reports, says from to ascertain. I didn't know if that was form or that word shouldn't be in there at all.
I'm sorry, where are we?
Under milestones
Under
for goal 3.
milestones, goal 3.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
Or does it need to, that word from need to be in there at all? Could it read conduct a review of monthly ACC reports of police disciplinary outcome reports to ascertain?
Yeah, to ascertain.
Okay.
I think reports need strictly
Huh?
Yeah.
can be
Second
taken
report.
out too, because it's
Okay.
redundant, it says ACC reports.
Yeah, okay. You on page 4.
okay.
Again, this is measures are missing. Under number 2, measures. Nothing on page 5. Page 6, it says document and communicate.
On page 5, we need to take out not later than December 31st, 2023. Not later than December 31st, for each fiscal year.
Oh, okay.
When we started this, it was the short term, and we actually putting dates in
December
here.
31st, right.
So not later than what?
Good catch, thank you.
You say, what'd you change it to, you say?
Right.
We publish the annual report not later than December 31st, 2023. Just take out the 2020.
Yeah, that is definitely short term.
Yeah. Yeah, we had some others, and most of them I took out,
Okay.
because we did wanna say for this first
Sure.
year,
Right.
but that's when we started.
Right.
And this is really gonna morph into our long-term plan.
Mhm.
Thank you, Ms.
Mhm.
Warren. Okay,
Communicate.
so this happens to be two places. In one case, it's listed under 2 as a milestone, to document and communicate, and then it is also listed as an objective.
Mama, did you do the one above that yet?
Which one?
Gray area above that?
That's the one I'm saying, it's the 2. They say the same thing.
Oh,
So it's duplicated, and so one needed to decide if you wanted it as a milestone or as an objective.
It's an objective, wouldn't it be?
Okay.
It's not enough, because, I mean, we have to communicate, on a continuous basis.
Objective.
Okay. So we'll remove, you can delete the one that says needs more specificity?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can add under where it says number 3,
Mhm.
add that we will require milestones
And measures.
and measures, please. Thank you. Goal 5, number 3.
Marvin, can you repeat? I think that
I have
Yeah,
a quick
it's
question.
the same, just adding the word require milestone, we'll need to add milestones and measures.
No, I have a kind of separate question. We have the same, under the previous one and this, and the one we just looked at, the measure published annual report is the same. Like, we have, like, that's a measure for 2. Is that on purpose, or is it?
Which page is that, Nick?
So on page 5, towards
Oh.
the top, one of the measures is published annual report not later than December 1st. That's, the one we corrected of each fiscal year. And on the next page, the measure at the top of the page is the same one, like for
Yeah,
each
but
fiscal year.
oh, yes,
Is
it
that
is.
intentional? Like, shouldn't it be
Yeah,
the same one? Okay.
It
okay.
was, because you all had decided in some cases that the annual report itself was the measure for that objective.
Okay, got you. Just wanted to double check. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We are down to objective, goal 5, objective 3. And I think I had asked about this before, didn't quite understand it, so was hoping, provide and encourage development opportunities of police oversight acumen. Didn't quite know what that meant.
Right, so I think I wrote that, which
Okay.
means that we participate in things like the AHB or whatever. I know it says training here, training opportunities, formalized training, but other things that are outside of just training that will make us aware, or going to conferences or doing other things, doing research,
Right along.
ride-alongs, other stuff like that, that will give us a better,
Understanding.
way to, yeah, better
Okay.
understanding of how to,
So
do our
for-
job.
Okay. So, Ms. Bryant, can you make, because it wasn't quite clear, so
Okay.
if you could maybe, wordsmith number 3,
Okay.
so, and we put it, you and I can just talk about it?
Sure, that would be great,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because I think as soon as you explained it, it was clear, so one makes
Yeah.
sure somebody reading it will.
Okay.
And then the other question was implement methodology for effective PAB operations, and just wanted to make sure.
Okay, so this is under equip the board, staff, and consultants with the knowledge, skills, and processes. So, I guess what we have done, which is the procedures, is that.
Okay, so you're using methodology as the word.
Develop methodology procedures for effective
Okay.
PAB action. Say that.
Number 4, rules and
Objective
procedures.
5.
How about that?
But is that gonna overlap with number 2?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we could just take that out.
Take which one out?
Four?
Well, let me maybe encourage something. How about if number 4, it says procedures or whatever, and under the milestone, put the rules of procedure.
Well, it's number 2 right now,
I'm saying put it under milestone.
Oh, instead of putting it there.
And keep yours.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
okay,
And then the explanation of what that is adopting
Got
the
it.
rules of procedure.
Got it.
Okay?
Put under milestone.
Awesome.
So you can strike number 2
Right,
Right, and we're gonna
as
put
an
that under.
objective.
Okay,
and add it to next milestone.
yeah.
Yeah. Because what I noticed is in this one, in the milestones, we only address the legislative stuff and not the other stuff. So
Okay.
we will be asking at the end, to do additional milestones and methodologies. I mean, we're taking out methodology, but we will add some milestones and measures into that section.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, we can go to page 6.
6 or 7?
Seven, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. And these were add-ons when you all were just talking. Cultivate an open dialogue with stakeholders about areas of interest and activity, and coordinate and collaborate with oversight counterparts. Did not know where you all wanted those to be placed in what section. And we don't have to do that today, but if you all would think about it, it'd be very helpful. And what I have requested from the chair is that he might appoint 2 people to, because I think it would take too much time to do milestones and measures in this full group. I'd asked him if he would appoint 2 people to assist me in those sections. And so I think he's gonna.
Yep, so I had asked Dr. Coleman, and I asked Mr. Melton
Okay.
if you could do that. Yeah, so I didn't mean to volunteer you, but. I'm
But
sorry.
Ms. Bryan, if you have
Yeah.
some other
Just the one we talked about, that's all. I don't
Okay.
have any real.
Because if you have, but what I'm also asking you all to do is now, we know we're gonna come back, but everything you do have, look at it, and if you got any comments, send it back to Denise. And
Okay,
we will send it back to Denise, in addition to whatever the subcommittee will do, okay?
so we can capture that.
So we
Okay.
can capture, we'll send it back out.
Okay,
And the chair made it very clear that, and I made it very clear for myself, we were not gonna take a long time today, but those are kind of big ticket items, so I thought we could get that done in
yeah,
15 minutes.
maybe 17, but it's
Okay.
okay.
I know we've been trying to do more dates, so when would you all like me and Dr. Coleman to be done with the suggested or proposed metrics?
I have my answer. The
Yeah.
measure.
Yeah.
'Cause it's gonna be the 3 of us, so,
Okay.
we have our next meeting on what?
The 8th, because
Oh, the 8th,
next Wednesday is the 1st, huh?
right.
Lord, gee.
Yep, it's the 8th. I mean, you guys can work on the weekend, I don't see any problem with that. Right, Mr. Melton?
If we can meet and finish it by 1st of November, so that staff
Can
can
have a
send it
time.
out
For the next.
for the next. So our date, Dr. Coleman, is November 1st, and I'll send you all a text, email for your availability. Are y'all able to meet during the day?
Yeah.
Is it virtually?
Yeah,
Dr.
depending on
Coleman?
the day, yeah.
Yes,
I see this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I will, actually, when we take a break, if you can stay in, we can pick a date. Name, okay, all right. Okay.
I'm unionized, did you go?
Is there a date by which any other board member should have their comments to Denise?
They don't, November, same day, November 1st.
We have to establish a formal subcommittee or vote to establish a sub for this process?
For
like, to do the strategic plan review thing, like, or is it just kind of a?
It's been a group project.
Yeah.
We're just trying to.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
To get the input,
This
yeah.
has been a whole lot.
I like that.
Yeah, it's been a group, and part of it was, we talked about, at least on this project, when we were getting so many comments, on the subcommittee comments, it ended up being more efficient to just do it together.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, so November 1st is our date.
All right, and then
Thank y'all for that.
were you next
We're
up again?
almost there. Mhm.
Status of action items?
I'm gonna hold off on the, if it's
Okay,
okay.
so we're gonna do that.
Because there's a pretty extensive list of action items, so
So we're
I'm
gonna,
gonna,
for next
it's
meeting?
okay, yeah.
Okay, so we'll take that for the next
And
meeting.
if it's okay, Mr. Chair, what I will do is, staff and I have looked at this, and if there is something that hasn't been done, rather than me go through this and say it, we'll send you an email and say, make sure these are your due dates.
Oh,
Either
okay.
you pass this or as a helpmate to the board. That's okay.
And, you know, maybe we can, create a calendar and have those things in there, and then we can all look at that calendar with the due dates that way.
Yeah,
That
we
would
have
be a little bit.
it's, yeah.
Okay. All right, let me do that. So it's,
Mr. Chair?
yes, ma'am.
I just want to know, I thought I had put it on the agenda, but I did, want to put on this, that anybody should do their updates, any of the
Brief stuff, okay,
things that they've already done.
Okay.
Some of the subcommittee updates.
Let me try to find this.
I see that I left it off.
okay.
What's the date today?
25th. 25th, right? Yes. I know, it's really bad. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
because
didn't-
there are actually quite a few dates,
Okay.
assignments that should have been completed.
I think two agendas are flipping around.
Wait a
My
minute.
fault. Yeah, are there subcommittee updates on your agenda?
No,
I don't see it on mine, no.
Status of action items, but not subcommittee.
Well, I guess I didn't print it out. I think it was on the one that I sent you all, but it was not on the one that I printed out. So subcommittee updates was supposed to be one of the agenda items.
so we can sneak that in real quick, subcommittee updates, one of the agenda items. All right, so how about this? It's 7:30, I know we do have, some food people need to eat, so if we can take a 10-minute break, and then come back at 7:40, try to figure out, because I want to make sure that we have a hard stop at 8:30, so we can try to go ahead and take care of that if anybody's opposed, so do we have to take a motion and a vote to take a break, or can we just say take a break? Take a break. 10 minutes. All right, we're back from our break, 7:44 now. All right, so next up on the agenda will be, case review process. Ms. Hall, you have the floor, and the other members will be coming in from the break, so we'll just continue to move forward.
I just wanted to take this time to remind you that we still have to define the case review process. I gave you a draft a couple of weeks ago, a draft form. All of the files are in that space that, Angie told you about. And I'm hoping we can set as a goal a minimum of 25 cases reviewed before mid-December, so we can have something to report on. I don't know how you all want to approach that. I think that's a decision you need to make, whether you each want to take 2 cases to review it and, fill out the form and report on them, or do you want to all look at the same cases? But some kind of decision needs to be made so you can begin to review these cases and,
Start to collect the data. Start to collect the data.
and start collecting and reporting data.
Okay. So I think that, what we can do is based off of the cases, like we said before, the subcommittee, and then have a certain group look at this, that, and that, and then do it like that. That's, what do you guys think about that? Because if we're all looking, well, I guess it will be okay to look at all of them. Yeah, think that, yeah. What you thinking, Ms. Green?
I was thinking, so my first thought is that we all take cases. My only apprehension on what are we pulling? Do we have a uniform standard yet? So that's the only thing that's holding me back as far as if we all do cases, what are we pulling? Are we going to be pulling the same information and providing that? So I don't know where we are with that.
I think that's what
I
you're
gave
saying.
the my suggestion for a form for doing the review. It's not definitely, the Bible, but it's a start. If you all would look at that
It's a guide, yeah.
and make some kind of comment on the form and the written process, because I did both of them.
Okay.
So let's do that then. So as a starting to get started, let's use that form right now as is. I would say, this is my thoughts, but to use the form as is for now and get the case review started. We take 2 cases, go by the form, and then later on, as we've done that and caught up, maybe we could look at the form and revisit it and change it, unless you're not, as is, you don't think it's good enough for us to use
I
right now.
I think you can start, but when I gave it, one of the things I said was take it for a test drive.
And that's what this will be.
Yeah.
I said, but a couple of weeks ago, I said, take it for
I
a
just know what I'm saying.
All right.
Right, you're right, I get you, but right now, if we all do that, and we're all responsible for our own cases, we're
Right.
test driving it, and we'll know, and we'll catch up at the same time.
Okay.
So that would be my thoughts, but.
I'm with that. Daniel's looking up like that, he's thinking, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, in terms of approach, I'd like to see all the cases, like, I would like for us all to look at all the same things, because you never know, like,
What
one
might
person
check,
might be,
yeah.
see
Yeah.
one thing in one way, and it just all helps to be all seeing the same things.
Okay.
In terms of how to proceed immediately, I don't know if we just straight up adopt, the recommendations and then roll with it, or if we, I guess timing, right, like, I guess the goal, right, do we wanna hit that 25 cases reviewed by mid-December, or do we wanna just have the structure in place by the end of the year, or, I guess that's part of the
So I
question.
think what Ms. Springs was saying is that we have a document, and Denise has, she has some history and understanding this, by doing it so long, so I think that her document would be a guide. And like Mrs. Springs said, we can come back and revisit it based off of the case, yes, sir.
Maybe if we did wanna do it, sort of like in stages or phases, maybe we do all the same cases, but we only do a
Okay.
certain segment
Yeah.
first,
Okay.
by a deadline. And then we
Okay.
pivot and do
The next step.
So I don't know, Mr. Co-Chair, maybe you could pick 10
Yeah.
and sign it to everybody, and we all just be intentional about getting it done by the deadline or by the next meeting maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is maybe 5 or 10, because how are they numbered? Are they numbered with our numbers or with the ACC numbers?
Their number was the ACC numbers. What I was thinking is chronology, we take the first in, first, first
Okay.
out. Take them as we got them in.
Chronological, okay.
How many cases are there right now?
Probably 100, I can't remember the exact
That's-
number right now, but maybe 100,
That's my only concern, if
maybe, I just don't know.
we're doing 10 cases right now, that's my only concern. If we have 100 right now, we're talking about taking 10 out of 100. It's just, I'm thinking big picture.
I got what
So if we're gonna do this, we really need to move it along, and then after 10, if we're gonna all review the same 10, and I understand what everybody's saying, so we can all see the same thing, so if,
And test out the process.
yeah, so if we, so let's say we go with everybody saying we do 10, everybody just does the same 10. Then after that, I really think we should separate the cases.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so we can understand the process,
Right,
and move it out.
so we're on the same page, we kinda see what we need to see, but in so many cases, we try to all review it, I just don't think it's
Won't
gonna
make
be.
it in time. What enough, okay, so that's what, I think what Mr. Melton said, you pick 10, after that, we'll come back, and then we'll say, okay, let's go for it, yes, sir. Oh,
Saying, we
yes,
gotta have
sir.
the screen.
Thank you. Yes, sir, Mr. Daniels.
I'm just trying to understand, what is the premise behind actually reviewing the cases? In the sense that those cases are already adjudicated and closed. What are we seeking to find in reviewing those cases? And then my second question is, where and when will we have access to the complaints, not the cases, but the complaints that precede those cases?
So I think that one of the things we're trying to look for are trends, and start to collect some of the data that I think that Tangi had shown before, Dr. Coleman and, Mrs. Springs had put together, so we can start reviewing the cases, to start capturing some of those data categories that we talked about a couple of meetings ago. And then the second question was, when are you gonna have access to the complaints and not the full cases?
The cases have the full cases have the complaints in them. Yeah, regardless of whether it came through us or came through the department, the case file should have a complaint in it.
That's part of it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I can follow up on that, and I understand that, and that premise is understood. However, the cases may be months behind, could be almost a year behind. The trends in the complaints could tell us something a lot sooner. So that's why I was asking about access to complaints, not just cases.
But I understand, but I was just trying to point out that the only complaints that I can give you are the few complaints that come into us, which is not to give you a full picture, because all complaints don't come to us. We only get the ones that's for the people who opted to file a complaint through the PAB. They still have the option of filing through the, Inspector General's office or the police department.
Right.
So I can tell you, hypothetically, we've got 50 complaints, but there could be another 150 floating around out there.
Are we allowed to ask for those?
We can ask, but there's nothing in the legislation, anything to obligate.
Right, I think that was one of the suggestions that we come up was with trying to get so that whenever those complaints go in, the agency's automatically getting it out.
And
So
there
that's-
is some proposed legislation floating around
Right,
to require the department,
yeah,
At the county level or at the state level?
county.
yeah, it was part of our recommendations too.
Yep.
So,
But I can certainly give you what we have, but again, I don't think that's gonna give you any kind of indication of a trend from a universal complaint.
Coleman has a hand up.
Oh, Dr. Coleman, okay,
That's what I was
yes.
gonna say. Fine.
Yes, ma'am, Dr. Coleman.
And I was just gonna say, about the data, when you're collecting trends and doing that, there's always a lag anyway. There's, rarely a point where you're gonna get data is close to real time unless you have access to the system where it's been inputted. So I think that the data lag will be fine. When we collect those trends, it'll still be useful information and data. And then just tag along what Denise just said about not getting all the complaints sort of in the universe. When we're doing the data analysis, we can control for that. So we can take a variable and sort of hold it constant and control for that and say, even though we don't have the whole universe of complaints, controlling for that, these are the trends that we do have. So yeah, I think it'll be fine from a data analysis standpoint.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you for that, okay.
That's all I need to say, that we need to get started on doing something, because the annual report is due out on the 31st, and I think that we can I'm just saying, set a goal of a minimum of 25 by mid-December, hopefully doing more. We will have some data points to report on.
I'm confident.
So I'll go through all of the ones that are in the drive already. I'll send to Denise the 10 that we'll all review. She'll send an email out to everyone, and then for the next meeting, just use the form, that she provides. We fill it out, and then we'll just have a discussion, and just be ready. I may just say, all right, the next one, Lafayette, the next one, and then we can all take turns kind of going over the form, what we learned from it, and then take feedback from everyone else. Okay, cool.
That's it for me, unless you all have questions of me.
I have one question. So for those forms, I know it was an issue with the computer. Do we have access to the complaint information if we didn't do it with the IT? Do we need to come here for all the information that we're gonna review for the case files? I thought it was a point where everyone was trying to get access.
Well, we've solved that by putting it all in the S drive.
So we're good.
Sandra gave you the, yeah,
So we're good.
S drive.
Okay.
And if we're not, you send an email, yes, sir.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're talking about like when we had to, like IT was here before the other meeting and they did something on the computers to log you in. Okay, I got here late that day, and today too, sorry. Would I still have to meet with IT for them to like do whatever needs to be done? Or are you saying like it should be good, my computer should be fine?
Oh, I was speaking of where the files are located, not how you got there.
Yes.
So some people never had an issue accessing that run feature and getting access to complaints. Can you get access to complaints? Have you tried?
We'll talk after the meeting. I don't know
Yeah,
everybody else.
Yeah, I think we tried on your computer when you were sitting there.
Initially, yeah, and I couldn't, yeah.
And then if you can try it by Friday, then.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Is anybody else having a problem? Has everyone tried?
Is the question, I apologize, the question accessing complaint data?
Yes.
No, I thought you said case.
No, it's not
Right,
about
right,
the
they're
files.
they're two different ones, that's why I just want to make sure I understood what the question was. The complaints, I think, have access, but they don't match what we were told was in there, and then the cases don't match the total number that we talked about, and then I have not been able to access complaints, and I understand that they're only the complaints that the PAB has received, but I haven't seen any of that complaint data or information at all. We even agreed to quarterly reports on that, and I haven't seen any of that complaint data at all.
The complaint data that's in that drive is what we tried to resolve, the complaints that come in that have been completed. So if you look in the complaint file there, that's on there now, you're only gonna see those that came in that the ACC actually completed.
Completed.
Because we were trying to track what we put into the system versus what we put in and came out. Now, the, cases, when was the last time you were in the file?
It may have been a week since I tried accessing that and to look to see if it had been updated. It may have been a week.
Well, everything should be in there now except for what has come in recently. And, there was a file that didn't transport for some reason, whatever reason, transported empty. So I put them in a zip drive that is also in that file. So
Okay.
everything should be there now.
All right.
All right, so then we'll all just take the next several days to go through, try to access the cases. If anyone has any issues, we can reach out to Denise, and Denise will coordinate with IT and whoever else.
So, you give them out, what is?
I'm gonna give you the numbers.
Oh, your numbers, so it'd be our numbers, so we would know that.
Mhm.
Okay, okay.
Yep. Yep, I'll make sure that it's clear which ones we're doing.
Because I know the actual complaint has a number.
Yeah,
Right.
complaints have numbers, but we're gonna use the complaint, the case number.
Case number, okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right.
Stuff like that. So, yeah, let's just do that, and so that way, by latest Friday, anyone who's having any issues can get that back to Denise.
Okay.
Regarding the complaints, I just talked to Tangia, we can move the complaint spreadsheet that we have into the S drive. Now, that's gonna be all the complaints that we've gotten in, but some of them have not been completed in terms of investigation. But there is a file there for those complaints that have gone all the way through the investigation process.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
We can do that by tomorrow, since we're dating.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Denise. Next up on our agenda is new business. Don't have anything under that. Any announcements? Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan.
No, you're fine. We can give a subcommittee report, from our piece of the annual report. We met last week and we, start working it out, basically. Like, we have some ideas already going, and, we plan to meet again next week, draft some stuff up internally, and then, we'll talk about some more specific days moving forward. But we met once, plan to meet again next week, so we're rolling on our section of the schedule. The letter writing subcommittee, we met to put the letter to Prince George's County Police Department Chief, Aziz together. Got it in front of you guys. We just got it sent back, so we got to set up another meeting.
Right.
But yeah, that's our update on that.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Armando Johnson, you said that, your subcommittee met last week and will meet next week. Which subcommittee is that?
That's for, not necessarily a subcommittee, but our, like,
Oh, the
the
annual.
group of us that's doing the annual report. Yeah,
Okay.
myself and Mr. Melton.
We were assigned recommendations.
Yeah.
Recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So with, just as an update, we don't have a lot of trend data, we don't have a lot of data to go off of, and so when you think about recommendations, you're gonna base it on things like that.
Right.
So one of the strategies we came up with is, to list out categories of recommendations. So what subject areas might we find that we wanna provide a recommendation? So we've listed that out. The other thing we're doing is looking at, things that are out there in general that go into police reform that we might wanna think about,
Got you.
have already been in sort of like in the atmosphere
Yeah.
well before 2021.
Don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, and just, we keep tabs on those type of things, and maybe we adopt some, maybe we don't,
Makes
but
sense.
we'll just start working on listing those things out, so that when the data does come in, we can just kind of pinpoint.
Yeah. Okay. I know that we had did anyone do a ride-along, or they had,
I did a
I need
coffee
to do the
chat.
website.
Okay, oh, I see.
Webpage up there.
I see that on here, my apologies. Okay, so thank you for that update on the, subcommittee. Moving on to, again, you, Ms. Hall.
Yeah, the webpage updated. The county restructured, redesigned all the web pages, and it looks different, and if you benchmark, or what is it, bookmark, right? If you bookmark the page, your bookmark's not gonna work. So you're gonna have to go through the process again. We had a meeting this morning to talk to them about putting some things back on the webpage that they took off, and to make the webpage more intuitive in terms of view, and some other things. So if you go out there and look at the webpage, it's quite different from the way it was before, but it is supposed to conform with the way the county wants all of its webpages to look. So if you look at it, and if you can give me some comments, I can pass those on to IT.
Okay.
When do you want this one? By the next meeting, or,
Okay.
this is an organic process, so there's no time frame for these comments. But so they've given us the, ability to manage the webpage ourselves, which is what we had before, but they took it away, now they've restored our ability to. We just can't design a webpage, but we can add a page that conforms with the rest of the page and put the information. So if you look at it and you think that, maybe we need a page that does this, or the public might be interested in that, then just let me know, and we can see what we can get done.
Okay, great. Mr. James?
Is it possible to get that page restored that had the complaint data on there? I think it's good for our transparency into the public, and I think that that's altogether missing.
It's there. The problem is you got a convoluted way to go there. Are you on the webpage now?
I can go there at the same time as we're talking.
Okay, well, the way it is that they have, instead of the, navigation being on the left like it was before, it's on the right. And they have all the boards and commissions listed. But you have to actually alphabetically go through all those boards and commissions and get down to the Prince George's County Police Accountability Board, then you'll see an about. And listed under that about is complaint data. And that was one of the things we talked about, move that up.
Yeah.
Because when you go on the page, it just looks like there's nothing
So it'll
there.
be easy to find.
Mhm.
So how about this?
But it's actually there.
So how about, go ahead, Mr. O'Neill.
You talking about the actual PG page you talking about, then you gotta go all the way down, you gotta.
No, you got, before you even get to the page that I'm talking about, you got some steps.
Oh,
So how about this? Rather than to try to do that, let everybody just try to access it.
okay.
If you got any issues, let's do that, because we'll can sit here and try to figure out, so let's try to access it. If for whatever reason you can, I think somebody said earlier, send, Denise an email, she'll send it over to IT. This is not our warehouse, I'm an IT person by profession, but we'll let the paid professionals in this case take care of it and have it taken care of. So if we have any issues, knowing that it's not the staff, it's just the way that the county is now structured the web page process, so we'll get that taken care of. I thought you raised your hand.
I did, I just had an announcement about, coffee chat.
Oh, okay, let me, so we'll, can I move that under right along?
Yes.
Is that okay? Okay. Thank you, Denise. Next up is Ms. Sandy Allen. You had a hearing board attendance?
Okay, really briefly, there are trial boards that are still being held under the LEOBR, mandate, which means everything that predated the, Police Accountability Act of 2022 or 2021, those hearings are still being, held. So, we have made some inquiries. There are police, departments in the county that are, these are public hearings that are allowing us to view those. I think it's important that, the board has access to this because it may shape who you may want to appoint to these administrative hearing boards. It may shape some of the questions if you have access to what you can anticipate happening under HB 670 and CB 2022. With that being said, yesterday there was a case, and we did have, Police Accountability Board members attend virtually and in person. I know that, Board Member Bryant was able to attend, so without going into anyone's personal name, if you would like to share any thoughts about your experience yesterday. I would. First of all, I didn't know the police plaza was as nice as it is. It's fabulous. The police plaza, where the headquarters is.
Yeah.
It's in an absolutely new building, and it's beautiful. You can't go in there unless you get escorted. So, which, there was nobody there to greet me, so I had to wait to help me get there. But anyway, the hearing was very enlightening. There are 3 officers. One was a captain, one was a major, and one was, equal rank.
Mhm.
And the major was the chair of the committee, of the board, and he basically ran it like I guess, as the administrative judge would do in future hearings. So they listened to all the evidence. A lawyer from the office of the county attorney was the prosecutor, and the officer had his own private counsel as his lawyer. So the prosecutor tells the story and it presents her evidence. It's just like a trial, except that hearsay is allowed. So the officer can read statements from other people. The investigative officer reads everybody's statement so that they don't have to have all those witnesses there. They just read the statement and it goes into the record because it's not a trial. I understand, based upon what the equal ranks training that I heard today, the video, that the officer, after the administrative hearing board, even now, will be able to appeal through district court, circuit court. If he's not satisfied with the outcome, he can appeal whatever ruling comes out of the AHB, which I didn't know.
I didn't either.
This is the internal.
That's in that training.
That's what I said. That's why I heard the training today.
So they always have been able to.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So it's not really the end, but it's the end as far as we are concerned, because after it gets out of the AHB, it's out of our hands completely. They'll have to go to trial, formal trial. But it was really interesting. The public is allowed to view it. There were several people in there. I don't know necessarily who they were, but it was primarily, they had the police body camera, which played a very prominent role, because, I mean, you could see up close and personal exactly what happened.
Oh, you mean the evidence?
The
Evidence. Okay, okay.
And this is the internal administrative hearing board for the Prince George's County Police, not us.
Right, prior to us. But the complaint came from a citizen.
Oh.
The complaint came from a citizen to the Prince George's County Police, and it was basically a illegal entry.
Okay.
But it was great. I mean, I recommend going there so that we can have a better idea of how the process really works.
Is this not the one where we have our civilian pick on it?
No.
Okay, that's all.
The whole process.
But like I said, on ours, it would be, the major would be replaced by the judge.
Right.
The officer of equal rank will still be the
Right.
same, and then the person that we appoint will be the third person.
Right, okay, all right, all right.
So it was great.
Cool.
I also attended, but I attended virtually. And I attended, there was another officer in another case that I also attended in person. And for me, it was a big difference, the experience in virtual, versus being in person. You couldn't see people on the virtual most of the time. So part of it is looking at mannerisms and all of that. I didn't have the benefit of that this time. But I will also say it was not, I was on there from 9 to 4:30.
Wow.
That's how long the hearing was.
Wow.
With a 1 hour break for lunch. But it was interesting to watch the first officer versus the second officer. And I do think it is useful, particularly when you talk about the officer of equal rank, because I think I mentioned at the last one, they said they have equal votes. And I did, which I'll mention in the ride-along. You can say that all day long, but if you know that's your superior, it still is an issue, and I think something we should be considering, because everybody's equal on that AHB. You gotta go back to your workplace. Somebody who is your superior, and what implications if you come out differently than that person. That continues to be a some-concern.
Well, as we go into the new, hearing, it's gonna be the administrative law judge, officer of equal rank, and a civilian.
Yeah.
So, that dynamic is gonna shift just a little bit.
Yeah, but it is, they know what is going on, and I still think it's an issue.
So it would be beneficial for us to take it to attend one.
Oh, I think doing it in person
Absolutely.
lets you see it.
Okay.
I can tell you right now that the next one that I know is scheduled for November 9th, I usually try to wait about a week out because they'll pop up and then they will get canceled rather quickly. And even the day of, you don't know necessarily whether or not
November 9th,
it's
okay.
gonna go. But I will keep you all, updated as far as that. But right now, November 9th is the next one, and, but I will touch base with you on that.
Okay, November 9th,
Brian,
Sunday.
you
And I
had
just wanna
mentioned
say-
needing an escort in the,
Simply,
who was your,
so the way it's supposed to work is there's a desk right in front when you come into the building, and there should be somebody there to escort you up,
okay.
because you can't get up the elevator without somebody.
A key or something, a pad or something.
Yeah.
And they're usually there.
Yeah, they are. So what I know Tangi has, resources there too, so if that happens, we should give Tangi a call,
Yeah, I
and then
did.
she can probably call someone.
It was only like 2 or 3 minutes. I had to wait for another police officer.
It's getting cold now.
No, I got in the building. I
didn't
didn't get
right,
in
that's
the
what-
elevator.
Oh, I know.
So the guy, somebody thought I was going to a different meeting, and he said, "Oh, just buzz her in."
Whichever
So
way.
anyway.
Okay.
But I did, for the record, and want you to write your own, I wanted to thank Tangi, because she's on it.
She is, thank you.
And, just making sure that we know about them,
Yeah.
that we remember about them,
And
and we
remind
know
us, yeah.
exactly
Yes.
what to do. So I wanted to say
Thank
publicly,
you,
thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. That was really,
A raise for Tangi. Not to raise your hand, but, right, okay, yes, please.
I also want to note that, developing here, a group of us, including Mr. Bennett and Isabel and I and Tangi, Tangi doing the line share, develop a process for the, administrative hearing.
Oh, okay.
And it's gonna be, we're asking for notifications 40 days out of the hearing date. So just to let you know, we don't have any notifications now, so there won't be any HB 670 hearings before 40 days, if not longer.
Yeah.
45 days, if not
I
longer.
mean, ours.
Before, at least 45 days, and that's if we get a notice tomorrow.
And will those be open to the public as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Oh, Dr. Coleman, yes, ma'am?
Sorry, I just wanted to jump in. I attended virtually, for a couple of hours. I had some other meetings, but, I just wanted to echo what Mrs. Bryant and Margaret just said. It was a really good experience to see, and to see how they laid out the information, and the body cam footage was very powerful, even though for a lot of it, you couldn't hear the sound. It sort of the sound was in and out, but the body cam after, sort of the attorney who acted as the prosecutor presented the information, the body cam footage was very, very powerful. So yeah, I'm looking forward to experience it in person, or if I can, and attend them virtually again, and just want to echo the thanks to Tangi, as always, for arranging that for us to be able to attend.
Bravo, thank you.
Did they make the decision right there?
No,
Okay.
they don't make a decision.
Okay.
I did speak with our, partners at PGPD to ask them to let me know what the verdict is, and I can share it with the entire board, or just the people who attended, if you'd like.
I think
Thank
it'd be
the entire
interesting for the
board,
whole
yeah,
board.
and then if we have some questions, we can ask those people who attended. I think that'll be great.
Yeah, I'd really be
Yeah,
interested.
thank you.
And then, this is just personal, I know this is a board decision, but, as you guys consider, your interviews, like you said, Ms. Camp, you're gonna have to sit for long periods of time. Are people able to sit for long, periods of time? Some of these, body cams may result in very violent images. Can you handle that? Not that we on our side can't say, don't schedule them for violent things, but these are certain things that, once you go to it
Yeah.
and see it, you'll have a different perspective than when you come out.
It can be disturbing. Some of that footage can be disturbing. I've witnessed a lot of it, so yeah, absolutely.
And also whether or not they're willing to travel to various parts of campus.
Yeah, I think we had
That's part
talked
of
about
ours,
that,
yeah.
yeah, so we'll keep that, okay. Thank you, Tangi, again, she's on it, I'm telling you, thank you, Tangi. And Ms. Bryant, that's what you wanted to talk about too, the HB?
That and another thing.
Oh, you said the coffee shop.
Yes.
All right, so, yep, you can go ahead.
Oh, we got ride along, please.
Oh,
She wants to
okay,
do it right.
Yeah, I did a ride along.
okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Tangi, right along, Mom Joe.
Okay, let me, give you a brief update on the ride-along. Several board members have gone on your ride-alongs. I know that there is a subcommittee for the annual plan, or for the annual report. I don't know if anyone wants to jump on the ride-along, to have that data, maybe how many hours, who went,
I don't know, but if you would like to do a ride-along by a certain time, please let me know, and then, like, where you wanna go, what time you wanna go, and then I'll go ahead and start making the arrangements. Per the strategic plan, you guys plan to do a minimum of one ride-along per year, whether that's calendar year or fiscal year, is one ride-along, and then you guys have been approved for compensation for 8 hours. So you can do as many as you want, but the above 8 hours is gonna be at your own expense. Okay. Now, I do know that Marva Jo has gone on a recent ride-along. Would you like to talk about your experience?
It was wonderful. I didn't get all that you got, Dr. Coleman, but I had a couple of stops, and I had a couple of next-door neighbors, peace order. But then I also had, which was very interesting, particularly having seen it, a car chase. Going about 120 miles an hour on Central Avenue. And all I could do was this. And,
You drive like that.
Good one.
And what was interesting about this, and you see the thing, the reason I'm bringing it up, not just because I was scared, but one of the police officers, there's been a series of this group of cars that went and stole teeth and been going around the county and using the teeth. I'm calling it teeth. It opens up stuff.
Oh, 'cause I was like, it's Robert Dennis.
Me too. I bet it's a big old thing that they use to open up cutters to open up ATM machines.
Okay.
So they have been doing it on a regular basis, and they have access to the police radio. So, and they have two cars, so one does one thing, listens, and they've been just getting away with it. One of the officers in that District 3 noticed a car that was, and said it on the radio, and he was on Bright Sea Road, and as soon as he said it, I guess they heard it, took off on Central Avenue. The stealer people. And so they knew. And what happened is they went on a high-speed chase. These guys were going, or women went through red lights on Central Avenue, turned on Addison Road. But at a point, they said disengage. And we had a case like that. They said disengage. And in this case, it wasn't because they were at the DC line. It was because when they did the background, in the county now, there are only 4 ways that you can continue a high speed, and they didn't fit in either 4, even though they knew these were the assailants. And so they had to disengage, which was kind of disappointing because these were the guys. And they had not stolen the car, and a stolen car, carjack would have been one of them. So, but they didn't fit, and they said it, and we had a case in which they kept going and went into DC, and that came up because they were supposed to disengage. So that was one thing. The other thing that I wanted to put on the table for you all is District 3 does 12-hour shifts, which is a long time.
All of them do that.
And they do 6 to 6. 6 p.m., the whole district. 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And it's two on, 2 off, and then 3 on. So what you're now talking about is officers doing 6 p.m., 6 a.m., going back 6 p.m., 6 a.m., going back 6 p.m., 6 a.m., and in between sometimes have had to do work. Now, some of those officers like it, but I think we should be looking, and they're doing it because there's some good reasons, but one of the reasons that's not so good is the lack of personnel. And, so I think as you all are looking at things and seeing what kind of impact that might have, because doing 3 days like that, when you are going in and that's a lot.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing with like nurses. They do 3 days, 12, 3-day off.
It's a lot, but because they choose that, but I'm saying this was in large part because it's a pilot program. And in large part, it was because of lack of personnel.
Right.
Not because they thought it was a better
They
approach.
ain't complaining. Overtime.
And
They're not gonna what?
They ain't complaining, but what I was gonna
No,
say.
and they don't get the overtime the same way, so be clear about that too. The way some of the, right, they didn't, these guys, and I wanna say, to me, it was not because of the overtime, it's because these guys are totally and completely committed to our community, and hooray to them, and my PFC was incredible, and the whole time, I think I did the 8, I didn't do the 12, but I did.
Really?
No, I would've done, but I had a 7 a.m. meet, so I couldn't do it. But I would've, because I wanted to feel like he was feeling, and I just wanna also, for the record, and I will send them, just say, the whole staff, including the one who drove, was outstanding, and it was a phenomenal experience for me.
But I was gonna say that, because the guy, when I went on my ride along, he said they couldn't do that chase. He said even if you see the car and you do regular speed, just right behind, say 30 miles, you can't even do that. That's what they told me on mine. They can't, even though you know that's the person, you can't do no high-speed chase. That's what
It's dangerous.
Yeah, but I think that they were within, whatever your situation was, they were within department policy, so
Yeah.
I think it's.
And they stopped as soon as the supervisor said disengage, and as soon as they said it, they disengaged.
Okay.
So, if you can go, I think you should.
And that was District
3,
3?
right? District 3, yeah. Barlow Station Road.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, Barlow is District 3?
All right, cool.
That's a dirty.
And again, thanks Tansy for facilitating.
Okay, so I'll talk about the coffee circles. This was District 2. So these meetings are held, by Zoom on the third Friday of every month. Denise Roberts is the point of contact, and they're looking for a location to host the meetings in person. There's really lots, there should be lots around, areas. So the meetings are organized in this way. At first, the law enforcement officers from the different agencies give an update on various issues they have encountered. Then there's a guest speaker, then a small business from the community, business person, makes a presentation. And finally, community and county officials provide updates to the group. So on Friday, the 20th, Major Sean Burrows, the commander of District 2, he said that there's still trends of increased car break-ins, and people leaving their doors unlocked. People need to install steering wheel locks if they want to prevent theft. Nate Rogers also stated that they would begin issuing citations for drivers who leave the key in their ignition when they go warm up their car in the morning, leave their car unattended with the key in it. They're going to start getting a ticket for that. They're having a number of community events like Cops and Bobbers for kids, and Halloween trunk or treat at Perrywood on October 28th.
Trunk or treat, okay.
From the sheriff, Captain Major, reported the number of evictions has slowed down. There were 16 in September and 5 in October so far. They have a behavioral unit that specializes in emergency detention for people who are experiencing mental crises. So 2 people were committed in September and 4 in October, and these are people who don't necessarily want to be committed. Somebody calls and they can take them based on an emergency or exigent situation. And they'll be hosting a Thanksgiving event on November 16th. They're also going to have speeding cameras on Marlboro Pike from now on. The small business was a man named Louis Smith, who's the CEO of Telesis Systems, which offers 5 services in 5 areas: cloud support, on-site infrastructure, user training, cybersecurity support, and emerging technology like drones. They give lessons on how to get a drone license in the DMV area, because it's not every place that you can use drones. They also train law enforcement on that, how to use them. But he did warn everybody, and some of the senior citizens got a little upset when he was talking about the unregulated use of AI and how it's scary. Well, with quantum computing and AI, it's a really, emerging unregulated area. So he recommended a book called Our Last Invention that talks about it in detail and how we need to implement some kind of regulation that Congress hasn't done yet. Finally, Nick Charles, who's our delegate for that District 2, he was talking about a lot of things. Senator Griffin retired, resigned, and he's looking, I guess, at that position based on what the Senate Committee does. And he wanted to mention that he meets monthly via Zoom with the public and MDOT and MPIE regarding damaged roads, trash around the city, around the county with no, and they're really experiencing a problem in PG with dumping. I didn't know about it, like illegal dumping. And so they're installing roving cameras to just prevent that kind of thing.
Right.
So I just introduced myself and I asked that they put us on their agenda at future meetings, and they're happy to do it. They're always looking for a community. Like I said, they have those
Thank you.
segments every time.
And that was, I didn't write the date. I'm sorry, you said the 20th, right?
This is on the 20th.
All right.
And the next meeting, the next coffee circle is on November 1st, and that's District 3.
And that's at Barlow.
It's on McLean Avenue in Glen Arden.
Okay.
They usually have those meetings at Farmers Market. Charlie Brown is,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he's
Okay.
the leader of that whole thing.
I think this one is, what's her name? She was on the county, the Board of Education.
And there's Queens,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Belinda Queens.
Belinda
Yeah.
Queen. Belinda Queen, I
Okay.
think is the point of contact on that one.
All right.
That's just it.
Thank you. So we getting up on our time. I'll get to you, so 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
Okay, no, I was just gonna say, I don't know if I said last, well, we didn't have me done. I did a presentation to the NAACP monthly meeting last month. Yeah, Linda Thomas told me to speak, and I just did, it was virtual, I didn't have to go no.
Okay.
You know, I just did an overview and went over what we got in the book and stuff. He called me like day of the meeting, because we're on another board together, so, yeah, but it went pretty good. I didn't get no questions.
Oh, by the way, I did do a draft of the presentation. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, give comments or something.
Yeah, since we're running over a little bit, we're gonna talk about that. So I think that what I'll do is I'll definitely give you a call.
Just give me a call.
Yeah, I'll do
And
that.
I can work on it some more, because it's really not ready for prime time. but-
Right, and I know you were just putting it together.
Yeah,
It's great. So
putting it
thank you
around.
for that. Yep. Anybody have anything else? All right, cool. Vice Chair, do you have anything, sir? All right. Here's the best part that, Mrs. Springs likes.
Move that we
I was gonna
adjourn.
say so
moved.
All right, Mrs. Springs has made a motion to adjourn.
Second already.
Oh, he seconded it? Hey, come on. Yeah, no, I kinda whispered, I'm not gonna lie.
Seconded by, Mr. Daniel Jones. All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And that was before 8:30.
You got me
Early.
on the nose.
Really?
All right, meeting adjourned at 8:29.
8:29.
Oh,
Thank you.
wow.
This should